Hi there, I am Giuseppe Corcella from Virtual Orchestration, and today I'm going to review SkyDust 3D by Sound Particles. First of all, I want to thank Sound Particles for kindly sending us a copy of the library to review. SkyDust 3D comes with two versions, a stereo version usually selling at 186.12 euros and a 3D version selling at 373.17 euros. Both versions have all the features available, but what really makes the difference is the number of outputs. The stereo version comes with stereo and binaural only, while the 3D version has all the outputs available. SkyDust 3D is a spatial synthesizer with a lot of features, and I warmly suggest to check out the products page and the videos on the YouTube channel, as well as the manual to fully understand what this library is capable of. A trial version is also available. The interface is resizable and you can access the forum, check for updates, create support tickets, read the manual and watch tutorials directly from here. Pretty useful, everything's at your fingertips. The main window is where you can choose the preset. You have a main preset here. You can blend together with an ARP sub preset, a pitch sub preset, and a spatial sub preset. In the second page, you have 8 oscillators. There is a main folder where you can get an overview of what is happening, but you can also work in detail on each oscillator. You have then a filter here. You can turn it off, of course, but you can also decide to operate on a single filter that affects all the oscillators, or to activate the oscillator button, and you'll see that you'll have access to a filter for each oscillator. In the frequency modulation page, you can play with classic FM synthesis, and also here you can take control over each oscillator. Pitch lets you work on stuff related to the pitch. You can, for example, create a vibrato using an LFO. You can work globally or on each oscillator. Spatial is, in my opinion, the core of this synthesizer. Basically, here is where the instrument comes to life. You can opt for a static position of each oscillator. The cool thing here is that when you press a note, all the active oscillators start moving, and basically you can decide also where each oscillator is placed. So you can place them statically, meaning that they have just these positions. You choose from here. So for example, you can put the oscillator 1 here, but you can also decide to make it randomly moving inside this red circle, and you can do the same with the second oscillator, the third one, and so on. Also, you can work more in detail on each oscillator and make things really moving. On each oscillator you can assign an envelope and work on the LFO, and also, and this is great in my opinion, you can also place around the space the starting point or the attack or the sustain. For example, I want the sustain here above my head, and I can just put it here, and then the release, I want the release back, and I can put it here. It's just very interesting in my opinion. And here you can also decide how the sound will move from the beginning to the end. It's a quite complex synthesizer in terms of idea, but in terms of usage, I think it's pretty straightforward, especially if you spend a bit of time reading the manual and watching the videos. And as soon as you realize how it works, you can really do a lot of interesting stuff with this library. You have then an arpeggiator and a sequencer here, and in the effects tab you can add some effects such as reverb, distortion, equalizer, bit crush to the sound, and you have also some presets here as well as on the other pages, as you can see. In the extras page you have access to 8 additional envelope generators and 8 additional LFOs that can be assigned to any parameter in SkyDust 3D. In the metrics page you can select a source parameter to control another parameter. At the bottom of the interface you have a few other parameters. You have then the pitch bend and the mode wheel here on the left, octave control, spatial turns on and off the spatial movement settings. When it's off, it uses the spatial settings that are defined in the off mode of the spatial page. Pitch turns on and off the pitch effects. Arp does the same with the arpeggiator or sequencer. Legato or mono makes the synth become monophonic. In the mixer tab you can control the levels of all the oscillators and the dry and wet signals of the effects. In the macro tab you can assign multiple parameters to 4 macros, so you can control multiple parameters at the same time with the knob. You have then 2 XY axis pads. You can assign any parameter you want and play around with the pads to create some interesting effects. In the spatial views, you can monitor how the sounds move in the space using different views. And here you have the output volume. Here you can choose the output format. As you can see, you can actually use the plugin in a lot of output formats: stereo, binaural, or multi-channel. You have 5.1 and other variants, and also you have 7.1, 7.0.2, 9.1, 9.1.4. You have the ambisonics here, so you can really get a lot out of this library. But if you just have a stereo environment, you can also take advantage of all this special stuff using the binaural setting. To set the multi-channel, you have to change the routing inside your sequencer. On the manual and the website you can find instructions about that. And now let's play around with this instrument and hear how it sounds. This is definitely an interesting synth with a lot of possibilities. I think it can work well on many genres, but I believe it can be particularly suitable for composers who don't want a plug-and-play library with ready-to-play sounds, but who like to experiment and have total control over their final result. The idea behind the synth is quite complex, and the synth itself has a lot of parameters, a lot of sound shaping possibilities. You can work on a lot of details, and you have these 8 oscillators that play around simultaneously, and you really can work on each of them. But it's also really user friendly. I suggest you to check out, as I said, the manual, to read the manual, to check out some videos just to understand everything about it. But as soon as you get a bit of information about how the single components work, it's really simple to learn how to use it. The most interesting part for me is the spatial tab, where you can really make the sounds go over and over inside the space, and I really love that you can decide to work both globally and on every oscillator within each parameter. This really gives you access to a lot of more sounding possibilities. It's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to support virtual orchestration, subscribe to the channel, join our newsletter if you wish, hit the like button, don't forget to click on the bell icon to get notified as soon as we release a new tutorial or a new review. If you are new to the world of the virtual orchestration and you wish to learn more about it, or even if you are a pro or semi-pro looking to improve your skills, we offer private online lessons about virtual orchestration, mockup, programming, how to use Dorico, Spatial, Cubase and Logic Pro. Get in touch at info@virtualorchestration.it. I wish you a wonderful day and see you on the next review.